You know, after all the anger of the last show, it's been a good few weeks to just have some time off, chill out, and relax. Just me here, sitting with some tunes, letting the world drift on by. You know, as important as it is to call out when companies do some truly crappy business practices, and, you know, if you don't, you should probably look at yourself and your reasons why that's apparently okay with you, it's even more important to celebrate what's truly good about gaming. The small victories, big landmarks that affect all of us, the things that improve the industry and that set it out as a beacon of global entertainment, the things that you know make you smile, inside and out. But there's not been anything, so I can for once put up my feet for a well-deserved, or at least I think well-deserved, break. Just here, with my beer, the calm ocean waves.
Telegram for you, sir.
Oh. Okay, wasn't quite expecting that. Kevin, Xbox Series X and PS5 launched. Stop. All kinds of new releases and remastered also launched. Stop. Get your ass off the beach and get back in the studio to talk about it. Stop. P.S. Why did you stop? Oh well. Back to reality, I guess. Bring those titles in, boys. Time to run them.
Run the titles.
Yes, hello everybody, welcome. It is the 15th of November 2020. It is 5 in the morning, and that is the perfect time to welcome you back to Radio Redux after a few weeks off as we enjoyed the boys playing whatever it was on LMC Cast. There was already another one in the can, by the way, so that's coming soon. That's going to be like 3 hours worth of, I believe, them playing Sheriff of Nottingham, discussing various bits here, there, and everywhere. But we're back with, you know, the LMC granddaddy of them all, Radio Redux, and myself, Kevin, who is neither of those things. But yeah, we had to be back this week because of everything that's been going on. There has been good, there has been bad, and there has been also stuff that is questionable either way, of course. But gotta say, if it only makes sense for the period of time that I have with you today, and if I'm with you at any other point in the future. If you're listening to this on the podcast, on any of the various services where it is, whether it's on iTunes or on Amazon or on Spotify, or just who knows, maybe you're listening to this directly off the LMC site at a later date. Whatever the case, it's a week of celebration for the industry as we welcome in yet another new era. How many new eras has it been? How many console generations? How many console generations has it been for Radio Redux's existence? That's a scary thought. How many console generations have existed during Radio Redux's time? How many consoles have launched? Today's music, it's all about those games. Those games that have launched as part of either the Xbox Series X/S or PlayStation 5's lineup. They might be remasters of games that have come out earlier in the year for the rest of us, for other platforms or PC. They may well be titles that are entirely new. Whatever the case, we've got some really nice music for that, and we're going to kick off things with a familiar composer, especially those of you who have ever gone to Video Games Live. It's Jack Wall, and his composition from the soundtrack to it's a franchise that won't go away. I think a few people would be quite happy if it did at this point. But of course, there couldn't be a launch period of a console generation without one of these ready to go. It's from Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. This is No Higher Duty. Again, it wouldn't be a console launch without some support for Battle Royale games. And while Fortnite is indeed among the launch list, I wasn't going to have some Fortnite music this time around. Instead, what you had there was the main theme from Cuisine Royale. And if you haven't heard of that, I wouldn't be at all surprised. But Cuisine Royale describes itself as, on Steam, a brutal multiplayer last man standing shooter with realistic weaponry, mystic traps and demonic rituals. It's a free-to-play game. It started pretty much as a joke and a parody of PUBG and Fortnite and everything that goes on with them. But it's been around for a couple of years. It keeps going. Developed by Dark Flow Software and published by Gaijin Entertainment. It's officially part of the lineup. So hey. Also, that's one of the rare pieces of original music. A lot of the soundtrack actually is reworked or repurposed classical music, funnily enough. So this is actually one of the only original works that's associated with the title, at least as far as I can find. So, have you got yourself a PS5 or an Xbox Series X Volume S Alpha Third Strike or whatever it's called? Personally, no. There's a lot more important things going on at the minute for me getting a new console. Also, in all seriousness, there's nothing from the current set of games where I've really gone, oh yes, I need to have that, to the point I spend a small fortune of money. Unfortunately, adulting gets in the way. I am at the point now where adulting is entirely in the way of gaming. I would much rather be doing gaming and stuff, but no, I've at some point in the near future, I'm going to move into a house. I've got to look at various things regarding my future. I'm probably going to have to learn to drive and get a car. All these things add up. And it's incredibly frustrating, though not nearly probably as frustrating as those of you who on launch week found that they had great difficulty in getting into the Xbox services. And that was irrespective, by the way, of what console you are on. If like me, you have an Xbox One, you would have found that it was very difficult to get onto Xbox services because of just the sudden big rush of people, the big rush of new accounts really was making it suffer. It was feeding back into other Microsoft services as well. It apparently affected Hotmail, Outlook, whichever one you want to call it. So it was impacting on that as well. It is one of those things where, Microsoft is generally very reliable in terms of their services being up, and I can hear the scoffs in the chat even now, but in all seriousness they are. But like with Google, Microsoft's all Microsoft services are effectively built on a single structure. Just like Google's stuff is built on a single platform. There is a foundation, and when that foundation crumbles or is damaged, it affects everything. When Google has issues, YouTube is affected, and Google's search is affected, and all the various other things relating to it is affected. When Amazon has problems, that also generally tends to affect the Amazon servers, which Amazon's hosting servers, I should say, which then in turn affects other things that use that service, which are a number of websites. So when one major issue occurs, it generally affects lots and lots of areas. Things seem to be a lot better now after the initial rush, but I don't know. It's apparently everything's genuinely sold out for both the PS5 and, of course, the Xbox Series X. The S, it was the S in particular, which was obviously the digital one, which really had the problems with that, because obviously it was entirely relying on the Xbox digital services in order to get games downloaded and get games playing and or anything relating to the updates. Of course, you can imagine all of the various consoles had their versions of day one patches, as of course did the games. It's kind of for the course now. I'd imagine that there would have been some kind of just general, as long with the setup, an actual replacement. Pretty much, it was always the way, isn't it? You get a console, and excellent. Here is our platform. Here is our digital dashboard equivalent. Oh, by the way, we're immediately replacing it with something because we've found after shipping that everything's kind of gone downhill and it's not very good. But there is that. You've now got Amazon saying that orders won't be fulfilled until New Year's Eve 2020. You've got Best Buy saying, Best Buy have actually taken an interesting stand, and they're not letting you buy a PS5 or an Xbox Series X. Is there a way we can shorten that down? Can we call it like an Xbox Double X or an Xbox XS? Is that it? That's just going to be, we're just going to say Series X and Series S, but then you lose the branding. I feel as if this has not been well thought out by them, to be honest. But there is that, but Best Buy have said that they're not going to let you buy one in store until 2021. But that's partly due to obviously everything going on with the coronavirus pandemic, COVID-19. I sincerely hope that wherever you are safe and washing your hands and wearing a mask. It sounds daft. Well, not the whole washing your hands part, but it really does, as speaking as somebody who literally works in the healthcare sector and who isn't having much fun at the minute, unsurprisingly, it really does help. It really, really does help. Just reduce that infection. And it's not just, if you're worried about, for whatever reason, if you're worried about something, I don't need it. It's not just for you. It's a courtesy of protecting you and yourself and the people you care about. So please, please, please make sure you're doing your part so that the health services can do their part. But that's why Best Buy are not allowing anybody into the store, because obviously it would be a big influx of people into the store to get stuff, and they're actually saying no, we don't want that. We don't want to increase that risk. We don't want people doing what is really effectively an unnecessary trip. So they're ordering it for curbside delivery, or just general pick up outside of the store, which is fine. It's a good way around doing that. And it's interesting that this is obviously something that they need in terms of sales, but they've put them the well-being of their patrons, of the people who actually go to their store, their customers, they've put that first, even if that's something that may be deemed to be an inconvenience for the customer. I find that interesting. Anyway, we move on to a game which has very much defined the PlayStation 5 launch, mainly because it comes packed in with every single game. It's the further adventures of Astro, the cute little robot from the PSVR game. And by the way, we're going to play music from that at some point because, I stumbled on some of it the other day and didn't realise how damn good it is. But that's for another day and another show, specifically involving virtual reality stuff. Astro's Playroom, it comes bundled in. It's been referred to by various outlets of the PS5's version of Wii Sports, in that it is slightly educational game in that it's an adventure through the system architecture. And oh boy, does that sound boring when you actually say it. But it's an adventure through the system architecture of your PS5. So little Astro and his friends are going to go and sort everything out in terms of your PS5 to make sure it's working properly. It's cute. It is sweet. It is a happy slice of gaming. And it's causing a lot of people to have a lot of emotions. One part of the game is the GPU jungle, and there is a song that plays throughout. You don't get to hear it, cleanly, but mainly due to the fact that Astro himself does a lot of, in his idle animations, a lot of noisy stuff. Like lots of beeps and boops and waving at you and trying to get your attention to move. So, but luckily, somebody actually managed to get a clean recording of it. So here it is. It's the GPU song. Yes, the PlayStation 5's GPU actually has a song. Here it is.
Kaçtan kaçtım oy cennet.
On iTunes, Spotify, and Radio Sega, you're listening to Radio Redux.
a couple of tracks there with a slight similarity, I thought. The first of the two, the second of the three in obviously reality, but the first of the two that you don't know the names of was actually a preview that PlayStation themselves posted of the soundtrack to the Pathless. After which we had some Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Now I need to get this right, but of course I'm not going to, just because of how it is. It is called Hrafnsmál, The Words of the Raven, and that's from Assassin's Creed Valhalla, like I said, which of course brings me on, naturally enough, to the news that we had Friday with regard to the situation that was developing at Ubisoft Montreal. And it turns out that what was feared to be a hostage situation was in fact the result of a 999 hoax call. At least that's what appears to be the case. Obviously there was a lot of outpouring at the time throughout the industry of concern for those members of staff. A lot of people were sort of barricaded onto the roof and other things to keep them safe. A lot of people worried about their colleagues, their friends, their family. And like I say, a lot of love was shown to the Ubisoft staff, a lot of solidarity. Ubisoft themselves actually tweeted about the incident not that long thereafter, and I will read this out for you now if I can find it. Ubisoft took to Twitter and their @UbisoftMTL account to post the following statement. We want to salute the courage and composure our team showed today. Our focus remains on ensuring their health and well-being. We would also like to thank the SPVM, which, for those of you who don't know what that is, that's actually the Municipal Police Force of Montreal, for their quick and professional response, helping to bring the situation under control. We are extremely relieved this was resolved without incident and would like to thank you all for your support and kind words. Moving on to other matters, we've talked about new game consoles, new platforms. How about platforms that haven't really done what they're supposed to, such as the Google Stadia? Oh boy. So if you've got YouTube Premium, you may have noticed recently that you've been given an offer to get a Google Stadia for free. That's a thing, apparently. No longer available to US subscribers at the time of recording, but it was the case that if you had YouTube Premium, subscribers could actually get the $100 Stadium Premier Edition bundle for absolute free. It's available within the UK if you're one of the 3 people in the world that actually use YouTube Premium. Who uses YouTube Premium? Who has the money? Who has the money or the inclination to use YouTube Premium? I've no idea, but apparently you could get the Stadia Premier Edition, which features one Stadia controller in addition to a Chromecast Ultra, and presumably you'd then be able to stream Stadia games on YouTube. Stadia's hit its 1-year anniversary as well. I can't remember if it's this year or next. Sorry, I can't remember if it's this week or next week. But Stadia also hitting its 1-year anniversary. Somehow, this platform is still around. I've no idea how. It's lasted a year, but frankly, considering 2020 as a whole, we've not exactly had much in the way of good news, except certain things recently. But there's been nothing really much in the way of good news this year. So for Google Stadia to survive 2020 is moderately impressive. This does reek slightly of that time where Steam were giving away through various deals the Steam controllers and the Steam platform stuff, it does smell rather a lot of that. So yeah, sure. One thing to note, Google has said that the new Chromecast with Google TV won't actually support the gaming service until the first half of 2021. So in the unlikely event you've also got a Chromecast with Google TV and a Google Stadia, which presumably means you work for the company, because again, no other bugger in the world will actually have this. Bad news for at least another 6 to 8 months. But I'm sure you can hold out with everything else that's going on. But hey, like I say, if you want a Google Stadia and you're in the UK, a YouTube premium subscription is apparently the way to go. Just in case, you really want another way to play Sonic Mania. Up next, 2 tracks that when I was putting this together really caught my, well, not eye, but ear. The first of which is from Borderlands 3. Now, I'll be honest, I have no interest in Borderlands at all as a series. Never have. I played 2 briefly, I believe, and I found it incredibly boring. Absolutely awful. So we've got that coming up. Oh, there's so much more music I want to play. It's really frustrating. But we will have from Skywell 27 to Rhys's Rescue, and it's a very different, I think, sounding track, and a different soundtrack overall. Actually, I might play some more Borderlands 3 in the future. That's how much I enjoyed this. But there's that, and there's also a Manifold Garden. Now, if you've not come across Manifold Garden before, again, I wouldn't be at all surprised. But it too has a fantastic soundtrack. It's an indie first-person puzzle game title, which was developed by the American artist William Cheer. It was actually originally released in, October 2019. So it's over a year old, this. Already out on Switch, PS4, and a number of other things. But it really is I'm not quite sure how to describe it, actually, in terms of... It sounds like a fractal pattern. That's all I can say. One of those visual fractal images. It sounds like that. And when you hear it, you'll know of other things, other pieces of music that it sounds like in that particular genre. But other than that, I really don't know how to describe it. But I heard it and wanted to share this one in particular. Out of all of the tracks that we actually have today, this one in particular is really one that I want you to hear. The composer of the Manifold Garden soundtrack is Larissa Okada. The track is called Sky and Water, and those are the 2 items that you've got coming up next, after which we'll lead on to probably the biggest story outside of platforming, outside of new platforms that we've had this last week. And I'm not so sure about that one. But anyway, here's those tracks.
For 15 years, bringing you the best in video game music. This is Radio Redux.
Borderlands 3 and Manifold Garden there. The Borderlands track actually sounding very synthwavy, wasn't it? Yeah, loving that. Loving that. So, this brings us on to some UK domestic news. And I was going to play a track from Dirt 5, which would have tied in quite nicely, but we are indeed running out of time. So instead, let's get down straight to it. Take-Two are buying Codemasters. Eesh. It is an announcement which is literally in every sense. This ain't it, Chief. Obviously, Codemasters, one of the UK's biggest independent studios, if not the biggest, quite possibly. Well, not for much longer. Take-Two, the publisher of Borderlands, which we've obviously just mentioned, and Grand Theft Auto, they have agreed to by the developer who are responsible for a number of racing titles, including the Formula 1 games, obviously. £759 million, or $994 million, is expected to go through in spring 2021, as reported by Eurogamer and all sorts of other places. How the studio will be affected, I don't know. Or no one particularly knows at the minute, but I wouldn't be at all surprised that in all honesty, Cody's is out in the middle of bloody nowhere. In terms of getting there, if you don't have a car, you're stuffed. As somebody who doesn't have a car and who had to go to Cody's on a couple of occasions, it's great fun to walk from a village through a whole series of fields, down a whole bunch of B roads to get to where Cody's is. I can imagine actually that Take-Two might actually move them away from that location to somewhere more central at some point down the line, which will be an absolute shame because pretty much the entirety of that area is just full of Cody's people. But Take-Two, I don't think we really care about that much. There is absolutely nothing good from this in reality. Take-Two boss Strauss Zelnick said that Cody's racing output would fit well with his publishing giant's existing sports fare. While Cody's would benefit from Take-Two's distribution and marketing. Would it? Was Cody's in that big of a problem when it comes to that? Well, no one's ever said, Codemasters could do better marketing on stuff. It's all money, and hey, it might not necessarily go through, because there's been reports outside of this initial announcement that some of the top investors within the company aren't happy about the deal. And not because we don't want, this giant Take-Two, getting their grubby mitts on Codemasters. No, it's because they don't think that Take-Two are paying enough. So this may have legs, but it does mean that Take-Two will acquire Codemasters, and they will join the likes of 2K, Rockstar, Private Division, and a number of other places. Who's left in terms of independence? Sumo and Rebellion, pretty much, isn't it? Of the biggies that aren't expressly owned by anybody? I don't know. Who knows? Maybe Microsoft will go after them. Maybe Microsoft's putting a counter offer. That would be something. That would be interesting. Anyway, we're going to end today with a couple of tracks from games that have, for various people, defined this particular console launch period. The first is Spider-Man Miles Morales, and that is This Is My Time by Lecrae. And because I did promise some Sega, we are going to have some Yakuza 7 Like a Dragon, Receive You, the Dragon of Dojima. those are your 2 tracks to end today. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be back soon with more Radio Redux, and I hope you will enjoy the rest of your week. Up next on Radio Sega, it's Sega Mixer Drive with Rexy. So stay tuned for that if you're listening to this as it premieres. Otherwise, bye everybody.
Here we go, got my position, let's hit the road. Came along, now my people here with me, I'm in my zone. Been around the block a time or two, I tell you where to go, I tell you how to move. I got longitude and latitudes, keep it moving, that's my attitude. Looking back, I know they probably doubt me, now the city on my back, I wear it proudly. I'm a hero in the making, if I'm dreaming, you can't wake me. I think I'm destined to win it, they playing games, I ain't in it. Yeah, yeah. I took the message and sent it, felt like I was born for this minute, this is my time. I'm seizing the moment, cause I gotta go for the time's gone. Ain't scared of the dark, cause I'm bringing the light when the night's long. I shine on, see it coming, I don't need a sign. This the moment, I'ma make it mine, this is my time. My time, my time now. My time, my time. Should've known from the beginning, I was put on earth to win it. What a tangle where we living, any way you try to spin it. Heroes looking at me in the mirror, couldn't tell but now I see it clear. Got the confidence to make the moments matter even after all the interference. I think I'm destined to win it, they playing games, I ain't in it. Yeah, yeah. I took the message and sent it, felt like I was born for this minute, this is my time. I'm seizing the moment cause I gotta go for the time's gone. Ain't scared of the dark cause I'm bringing the light when the night's long. I shine on, see it coming, I don't need a sign. This the moment, I'ma make it mine, this is my time.